Welcome everyone. This is BJ from Edison, New Jersey, and we are very fortunate to come together to ponder on very important topic called Tri-Bondages. So welcome once again for diving deep into very important subject which we all must understand in the minutest details, because only when our understanding is intense, it is then we'll be awake all the time and working upon breaking these bondages. So I'm talking about tri-bondages. We spoke yesterday. The three bondages to which we are tied up to are the bondage of ajnanata, the contrary knowledge. The absence of knowledge is not ajnanata. Many people think that, well, the guy is innocent. If even in innocence one performs certain actions which are unpious, there is no forgiveness for that. So innocence is not a jnanata, or it's not a forgiving act. Not knowing the jnana is a jnanata. Knowing something else, opposite knowledge, the contrary knowledge, is what is the true avidya, ajnanata. So the first bondage is that we are knowing the contrary stuff, the opposite stuff. We are having affection towards the material than the consciousness of Almighty. It's because our Gyan is opposite. It's a contrary knowledge. The second bondage is the association with Prakriti. So Ajnanata, the contrary knowledge. The second one is association with Prakriti, because of which our world has become this Prakriti, whereas we belong to the realm of consciousness, the abode of bliss, but we do not remember anything about it. All we know is the materialistic subject. All the desire we get that we could recognize is of the materialistic subject. That means the conscious soul is today lost into this materialistic world. That is the second bondage, the association with Prakriti. And because it has association with mind and indriyas, it is caught into the never ending production of karma. Every moment we are producing karma for us. And this karma is the bondage for us which drives us towards the next rebirth and death and rebirth and death, the cycle of life and death. We spoke in length about what is the contrary knowledge, ajnanta. We spoke about because of ajnanata, we are not very conscious about the prime goal of human life. It is because of ajnanata. There are people who do not even feel the need of Sadguru. They think that they still have contrary knowledge about their own self. They think that the soul by itself is sufficient for liberation. This is also another form of ajnanata. And they ignore the system of eternal Sadguru. They do not understand that Sadguru is called Bandi Chor, the one who liberates. And the liberation is in his realm. It's not in soul's realm to decide or to obtain the liberation. It is something which is given by Sadguru. We also spoke about, so once we understand conceptually that we are in Ajnanata and we want to control ourselves from being attached to the materialistic world, then there were certain formula, certain practices that was advocated, suggested by those Brahmagyani who went through all these temptations and understood the formula of dealing with them. So they said, Grihastha tyag antar kare bahar sangrah panth. We still continue to do our duties because if God has given us power to earn the wealth, we must not stop doing that, because that's how you get the opportunity of serving others who are deprived of certain faculties or potential to earn artha for them. So you are there to help them, but you remain detached from your own earnings. So grihastha tyag antar kare. It sacrifices from inside, bahar sangrah pant, and continues to gather outside. While you are in the process of spiritual journey, and sometimes your mind starts getting corrupted. Before that seed of corruption starts germinating and growing into tree, you just kill the seed itself. And how do you kill that seed of inverse? How do you kill the seed of unwanted vices? By just generating the favorable thoughts, favorable to your spiritual progress. So you immediately start contemplating about your purpose of human birth, the preciousness of every breath of human life. You cannot let it go waste. You keep few lines that inspire you towards spiritual practices, and you start remembering those. So the rishi said that vitark badhne prati, if there are something which is obstacles to your spiritual practices, you should create the bhavana of pratipaksh, meaning something which supports your spiritual practices. So vitark badhne pratipaksh bhavanam. Then we spoke about the second bondage. After bondage of ajnanata, the second bondage, the association with prakriti, and we are now dealing with the most stubborn bondage, the bondage of karma, to which we are strongly tied up. In karma, we understood that there are the shubh and ashubh karma, the good and bad, which begets the sukha and dukkha in our life. And for reaping the sukha and dukkha, we are bound to take the future births, the next birth. Why? Because the karma undergoes through three different states. Three different states. Either the karma will be having potential to give you the fruits instantly, the instant fruits, which is called kriyaman karma. Otherwise, the same karma may get stored in chitta. That is what is called sanchit karma. And then there are karma which are taken out of the stored karma, out of the sanchit karma, and that determines your future body. That is what determines what is going to be your next body. Meaning, before you came to this body in which you are, this body is all driven by, or rather, there are some ground bhoga which you cannot escape from. You're tied up to certain destinies, and those destinies are preformed before you started leading this life. That is what is called prarabdha. So prarabdha is a subset of sanchit karma which have decided certain destinies of this life. So these are the three states of the karma. Either it will be ready to give fruits, or it will be due. The fruits will be due. So karma will just get stored in chitta, and you have not yet got the fruits of those karma. Or it could be prarabdha, which is a subset of those accumulated karma, which decides the destinies of your current life. So kriyaman karma, we understand the karma that gives instant result. For example, you're attending satsang. When you attend satsang, immediately you start getting the result. You start getting the wisdom. So when you attend satsang, it's a kriyaman karma. You are immediately changing your understanding. Instantly you are getting the result. Eating, drinking, these nourishment of the body, they instantly nourish your body. And then there are karma which you performed for a week, for months, for years, and eventually they gave the result. So the moment it becomes actional, any karma which becomes actional for giving fruits in current life, that is what is called kriyaman karma. It is active. It is something like there is a producing fruits producing machine which is turned on, and the moment you turn it on, it started producing the fruits. So the fruits producing machine is kriyaman karma, which is like actional to give you fruits. If it is actional in current life, then those set of karma is called kriyaman karma. It is never carried over to the next life. Kriyaman karma is that you did the karma and in current life itself you got the fruits. What is carried forward to the future life is called the sanchit karma, which is stored in chitta. And sanchit karma or the accumulated karma are those karma whose fruits are still due. You have not yet reaped the benefit of those karma. So they are stored in chitta. And the Sakshi Paramatma is the witness of those karmas. So even though you have not got the fruits, it doesn't mean that they have gone west. No. The Sakshi Paramatma knows all your karma. So they are stored in Chitta in the vision of Almighty Himself. He knows that He has to yet give the fruits for the karma that you did. So you practice meditation every day. You think that, my life is about to end and I yet could not get the benefit of meditation. Please don't feel any bit of discouragement if nothing happens in your meditation practice, because practicing meditation is stored in your chitta and all your effort will bear fruits in the future life if for some reason, for some prarabdha, you could not get the benefit of the meditation in this life. It will remain stored. It will get carried forward to the future life where by birth itself, your meditation will be at different levels. That is the glory of how the Almighty is Nyaya Karta. He never does any mistake in giving fruits of our effort, our actions. So, no matter what happens, we must continue meditating, irrespective of the fact whether the meditation is succeeding or not, because the success of meditation is not in getting the fruit right now, but the success of meditation is to register your effort of meditation in chitta. That is what is your success. The day you skip your meditation, that is the failure in your meditation journey. It is not the experience of meditation, but it is skipping the schedule of meditation is what is the failure in the meditation practice. You do selfless service. You don't get anything out of it. You're just doing selfless service, nothing for yourself. And it may happen that in the entire life, nobody appreciates your this noble selfless service. It does not matter, because your effort is never between you and rest of the people. Your karma is always between you and Almighty. It is always between you and Almighty. You are the doer and Almighty is the Sakshi, the witness of your karma. And He is Nyayakarta, meaning He always does justice. He never does injustice to any of your karma. That is the glory of Almighty. So all your selfless effort must continue, irrespective of the fact that the people who are around you is not appreciating your good thoughts, good actions, good speech, does not matter. You just cannot be righteous, non-righteous in front of Almighty, because it is never between you and your neighbor. It is never between you and your colleague. It is never between you and your family members. It is always between you and Almighty. So all your effort is stored in chitta in the form of sanchit karma. And this is what, if it remains due, the fruits have not been given to you for those karmas, they get carried over to the next lives. The prarabdha, which is the cause of the body, a subset of sanchit karma, which has become active for the fruits. That is what decides what is the body that the soul should be going into, so that these fruits can be obtained. That is why it is said, prarabdha pahle bana, piche bana sharir. Which body will you go? After this life, which body will you go? The God looks at the prarabdha. Okay, tell me what are the karma which are now ready for becoming kriyaman, ready for giving actions, ready for giving fruits. What are those karma which are just ripe for the fruits? It collects those karmas, and then according to that prarabdha, it decides which body is most suitable to get those fruits. So prarabdha pahle bana, piche bana sharir. And once the body is given to you, the fruits of prarabdha are engraved into life. Meaning, as long as you're living in that body, you are bound to those fruits. Even our God realized yogis cannot escape from it. So prarabdha is something that you have to definitely go through. Without getting the experience of all prarabdha, you cannot even liberate from the body. So after these three forms of these three forms of the karma, where we understood that the effort which gives the fruits in the current life called kriyaman, then certain karma does not give the fruit called sanchit karma, they get stored, and then there are karma which are destined for your current life called prarabdha, which is formed out of your previous birth's effort, a subset of sanchit karma which are destined for your current life is called prarabdha. But all these karmas are only going to lead you to the rebirths, because for the fruits that are due in your life you have to take the birth. So karma leads only to rebirths and fruits, never to realization of Lord or liberation. The realization of Lord or liberation is not the result of karma. That is the result of akarma, non-karma, which happens at the level of devotion, which is a different ball game. We'll talk about it. But we must understand that karma is in our realm. We are free to perform karma. But as we understand, by karma, we never get the realization of Lord. We never get the liberation. That means we are not one to decide that today I will get the Lord realization or today I'll get the liberation. Because realization of God and liberation is not the result of karma. Our freedom is only in karma. So before I now touch upon three different stages of karma, I would like to take question.
Uh, Vijayji?
Yes.
Okay, so I have a question here. One is that in this lifetime, a person realizes the importance of meditation and all the good deeds and everything, that he or she will start performing and start doing it. The life ends, and because of the prarabdha, let's say he or she gets the birth in a horse yoni, the
Mhm.
pranita yoni. And
Right.
in that yoni, where we say that a Sadguru comes to you, and from where your sadhana is stopped, he or you are granted to move forward in the next lifetime and next birth. So
Mhm.
does that happen if you are not in a human yoni too? Like any koi bhi yoni mein, you will get to do the continuation of sadhana, because this way, whatever the prarabdha, wahi, if we keep on just finishing those karmas, then we will never be able to free ourselves if we don't get to do the meditation or meet, Sadguru या 10th द्वार अपना जो खोलना है. Like, you understand
Right.
what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, I'm getting it, and you brought a very good point. So what it simply means is that first thing to answer you, no, the meditation and the karma that can drive us towards vikarma or akarma is possible only in the human life. All other yonis, all other incarnations are just the prarabdha based. So you go into those yonis and just go through the bhoga. You do
Oh,
not do the creation of any new karma there. You cannot change the direction of your life. Your direction of life is already predetermined by the prarabdha in those the incarnation of horse to say. Yeah.
mm,
Now this also brings up another very good, a very important point that we must know how to ensure that if I don't complete my journey in this current life towards the prime goal, which is God realization, then I must take the human birth only. This has become suddenly very important for us. We must ensure that our next life is also human,
Mhm.
so that our journey continues. So I'll come to that. The second question is from Venkat. He says, "What will happen to the remaining of Sanchit karma, which did not come out in Prarabdha karma?" So that is why the cycle of life and death into other yonis continue. So let's say you got a bundle of karma in Sanchit karma in your chitta, and you ended your human life. Now, what will be your next life? It depends on what was the character you built in the current life. Did you live your life like a human being? Or did you develop your cravings for the bliss of Almighty, not for the subject of this Prakriti? If not, if you lived your life like animals, like insects, that means those are the karma which are active for you. So from then on, all the sanchit karma that you have had, they will start forming prarabdha. A subset of it will decide, okay, so next these many years or these many breaths, you are an insect. Once insect is done, the leftover of the sanchit karma, from there another subset of prarabdha will say, okay, after the insect, your next life is of a fly. And then after the fly is done, the remaining of sanchit karma, from there a subset of prarabdha will decide similarly some other life. And that is why it is said, Lakh Chaurasi Bhogike. After 84 lakhs of life, fortunately, people come into the human life. And if you do not live your life like a human being, then it is not guaranteed that your next life will be human. लख चौरासी भोग के तो पर अटका आए अब की पासा ना पड़े तो फिर चौरासी जाए. There is high chances that if you have lived your every moment of your life like inhuman, then you have sufficiently collected so much of bad karmas or sansaric karma, so much of sansarikta, so much of allurement, attachment with the maya, that your next lakhs of births will be in non-human only. And that is why our Guru said that there are souls who have continued in this land, on this land, from Treta Yuga, and they have not yet liberated. And now, fortunately, they have come into human life when the present master is there. Swamiji, to the dear disciples, he has disclosed that there are people who was so and so in Mahabharata time. He just does not recognize his yogic power. He was already a yogi, but then he was lost into the Maya and lost his yogic power. So there are people who fortunately come to the human life after 5,000, 10,000 years. It is only then they get a chance to come in the shelter of Sadguru and then progress the journey which was due. Yes, so I see that Nituji had also raised her hand.
विजय जी, दिस इज नवीन हियर फ्रॉम यूएस।
अच्छा, yeah, जैसे उदय जी, yeah.
विजय जी, मेरे को एक छोटा सा इसमें एक पॉइंट मैं ऐड करना चाहूँगा
Sure.
टू ऐड द क्लैरिटी।
Yes.
मुझे जी कहानी एक याद आती है, महाभारत में एक छोटा सा एक इंस्टेंस है कि धृतराष्ट्र ने भगवान कृष्ण से पूछा था कि मुझे अपने पिछले 105 जन्म याद हैं और मुझे कुछ भी ऐसा ध्यान नहीं
I
पड़ता
mean,
कि मैंने कभी किसी को
Naveen ji, keep it in English. There are people who are, yeah.
I would
Yeah.
request you to please translate that in English, Vijay ji. I'm more comfortable speaking in Hindi, if possible.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So उसमें उन्होंने कहा था कि मुझे अपने 105 जन्म याद हैं, मुझे कुछ याद नहीं पड़ता कि मैंने कभी इतना कुछ गलत किया हो, तो मुझे जन्म में अंधा क्यों बनना पड़ा। तो भगवान कृष्ण ने जो है उनको सिर पर हाथ रखा उनको, और उनको 108वें जन्म में ले गए वो। 108वें जन्म में जो है धृतराष्ट्र एक शिकारी थे, और उनके बाण से एक किसी पक्षी जो बैठा हुआ था उस पे वृक्ष पर, उसकी आंख में जाकर तीर लगा था और वो अंधा हो गया था वो। तो उसका रिजल्ट जो है उनको 108वें जन्म में मिला। तो संचित कर्म जो हैं, नॉट नेसेसरली दे ट्रैवल टू द नेक्स्ट लाइफ, it can pretty much stay there, and it can come back and come to your life at any point in time. So this is what I understand from these
Right.
questions.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very good story. Yes, so King Dhritarashtra got the fruits of his action that he had performed about 108 births before. So see, our karma bites us. We don't know which birth's karma is biting us today.
So, is there no way?
Yeah,
This is
Vijay,
Venkatesh.
Yeah.
sorry.
Sorry, ma'am. So, is there no way to uh, kind of come out of that karma or sanchit karma, whatever we did knowingly or unknowingly, mostly unknowingly, right? So,
Yeah, we'll come to that. There is absolutely no way of getting rid of prarabdha for sure, because prarabdha is not there in your chitta to do anything. Prarabdha has already taken a shape of a life. So you are tied up to a life and you're destined to go through the prarabdha. But we'll talk about sanchit karma, the accumulated karma, how to deal with it. Okay, we'll talk about it.
thank you.
So, Vijayji, I have a question here. This is Madan Bhandari.
Yes, Vijay.
I missed the first few minutes of the call. My connection
Mhm,
was not going well.
mhm.
But I don't know if you covered it. But basically, is there a classification of actions that cause sanchit karma and the actions that will cause the current karma, what you call
Yeah, kriyaman karma. Yes, current karma.
kriyaman
Yes.
karma? And
Yes.
so, what gets accumulated, what goes into storage, and what goes immediately into fructification?
Yes. Yes. So, of course, for running your life, you are eating food, you need immediate nourishment of your body. If you don't eat, you immediately see the change, right? You start feeling weak. That means the eating, drinking, walking, sleeping, day to day activities that are necessary for running the life is all kriyaman karma. Okay, so there are certain karma which are necessary for running our life. They are called kriyaman karma, and beyond that, then certain things that we do for the raga and dvesha, you know, they are panch klesha. They are panch klesha, which are like rag, dvesh, the fear of death called abhinivesh. These are the klesha which drives us towards doing certain actions which were not necessary for us. Not necessary. Not necessary for survival, not necessary for nourishment of the life, but we still perform those actions. Those are the actions which become potential candidate for the sanchit karma, because they were not necessary, and that's why the fruits were not required, so it will get sanchit. Because if our karma, because of the raga or dvesha or fear, is such that it is very, very, heinous karma, not that holy, rather very ill karma, then this life, the prarabdha was already decided. So of course this life is not enough for you to reap the dukha of the bad actions that we did. So that is how those get stored, and that will decide your future life. Yeah.
So, is there, how is it determined, like, how long one, um, uh, you know, how long will it take pay for one particular karma? Like, what is the intensity of that, and what is the duration for which you have to be, and under what yoni will you reap that?
So, yeah, so that is where we understand that there is a difference between individuality and almighty. That is where it is decided, that is where it determines that we are only entitled to karma. We are not the one who can decide the fruits of the karma. I think this is where, in fact, in this context, it becomes more clear that aham brahmasmi, na, we are not brahm, right? This is where it becomes more clear. We are not brahm. If we still continue to think aham brahmasmi is the right concept, I think this makes it very clear that we are free to do actions, but when will fruit of the action come to us is not in our hand, because we are not Brahm, we are soul, individual soul, tiny soul, such a tiny entity which is 10,000 parts of the tips of the hair. And we think that we are almighty. What a great ignorance! Just think about it. What a great ignorance. So we are
I
entitled to
understand that,
karma. Yeah.
I know we cannot decide, but is there a knowledge that you can acquire? At least you know that if you do this is what is
Yes.
going to happen. So because of
Yes.
that knowledge, you are more inclined, or that knowledge gives you a, an understanding that if you do this is there is a severe consequence of this, so better don't do it.
Yeah. So see, this goes like this. You know, any knowledge, any knowledge that you want to attain, the simple formula is your consciousness must reach to that. The moment your consciousness reaches to that knowledge is yours. So, by that, you can understand who determines the fruits of karma. It is the Almighty. It is the Almighty because He is Karma Dhyaksha. He determines. So who can know the fruits and the future and the prarabdha? The one who becomes Brahmagyani. So for that to happen, we'll have to complete this journey of yoga. Once we become one with Almighty, in that state of the wisdom of Brahm is what everything becomes clear to us, even about our prarabdha. And that is why there are two people who lives the life in two different ways. One who lives the life with suffering of prarabdha, and there is another one, the realized yogi, who lives the life like a witness. He does not suffer, he is not a victim. One is the victim of his life, the other one is the witness of this drama, because he knows this is what is due to happen. So you have to become Brahmagyani to know that. Okay, now we'll
Makes sense.
progress. Yeah, we'll progress further on three different stages of karma. What we discussed was three different forms of karma, meaning the karma takes those three different shapes. One is the kriyaman, which is like actional to give the result instantly in your current life. Otherwise, they transform into accumulated karma, sanchit karma, or out of the sanchit karma, some of them transform into the body called prarabdha karma. Right? So these are the three different forms of the karma that we discussed. But how about three different stages of karma? Meaning the level, the arrangements within you by which you are performing actions are different. There's a first arrangement first stage of karma, which is the normal karma, which you and me are doing right now, where in those karmas we are tying up or strengthening the bondage of prakriti. So through karma, we are strengthening our bondage with everything that is part of this creation. So either we are tying up our bondage with relationship, tying up our bondage with the wealth, tying up our bondage with any other emotions in this creation. So anything which is made of trigunas, and you are putting all the effort to strengthening the bondage of a soul with the trigunas. That is what is the normal karma. So in such normal karma, your consciousness is flowing outward. That is one stage of karma. In this arrangement of karma, you are just strengthening the bondage of karma even further. You are deepening your bondage of karma by performing such outward flow of consciousness. That is one stage of karma. What is the second stage? The second stage of karma is vikarma. So in vikarma, there is a slight change in the arrangements. Vikarma are those set of efforts in which you loosen up your tie-up with the trigunas. In karma, you are tightening up your association, your attachment. Through vikarma, you are loosening up your tie up with the prakriti, meaning you're doing those actions which is developing detachment in you, which is developing vairagya in you. Those set of karma which is allowing or helping you to grow in the spiritual journey. Those set of karma is called vikarma. And then there is the stage in which just karma doesn't exist. It's called akarma. So there is a karma, there is a vikarma, and there is akarma. Now, will karma take the three different forms? Yes. Karma can be kriyaman, karma can be the sanchit, karma can become prarabdha. Will the vikarma take those three forms? Yes. Your vikarma can be kriyaman, meaning you attend satsang and automatically your consciousness will be ready to go inside. It will become more ready. So instant result. So your vikarma can be kriyaman, your vikarma can be sanchit, accumulated, and your vikarma will become your prarabdha. And this is where I would like to answer one of the question, that when you say that you go to the horse, then all your journey will halt because you will have to come to human life. So what is the way that you can remain in the human life even in the future birth? The way is just vikarma. If our main goal of life, our main prime effort of our life becomes vikarma, that means that will subside all your other karmas of the past. Because once you're in the chain of vikarma, then this takes the front seat in prarabdha. The prarabdha is first formed out of vikarma. Vikarma takes the prime seat in forming the prarabdha, provided your vikarma is your current karma. You are currently involved in vikarma. That is what you have to ensure. Even till your last breath, you have to ensure that you are involved into vikarma, into inward journey. You are still meditating, you are still attending satsang, you are still selflessly doing paropkar. These are the things where you are developing detachment. Nothing for you. You're becoming selfless. And you're only willing to do good for the world and also ensuring your inward journey for the Almighty. You're only thinking about Almighty. So Vikarm is the formula for us to ensure that we remain in the human birth even after this life ends. So Karm and Vikarm. Vikarm is the stage of karma in which you are putting an effort to assist your inward flow of consciousness. And when we talk about inward flow, it simply means that you are detaching from mind, from indriyas, and you are reaching towards the experience of consciousness. Your journey has reversed. You are going to go beyond your mind and body. Such is the journey you are traveling. And you're doing all the necessary effort which will assist this journey of inward flow of consciousness. Such effort is called vikarma. And once you succeed in that, once the inward flow reaches to the destiny of Supreme, you attain union with Almighty. That is when you attain the stage of akarma. Meaning after that, there is no karma for you. You become free from karma. So I'll talk these in little more details. So karma, as we understood, is the stage of outward flow of consciousness. But by that, people start thinking that if karma is the outward flow, then that is not I want. I want the inward flow. So what should I do? Should I stop doing karma? Of course not. Because you cannot stop karma anyways. Because the moment you stop doing karma, meaning whatever is your daily duties to nourish your family, to your body, of course you will start suffering right away. Because not doing any righteous duty that you're supposed to do itself is a karma. And the consequences of that karma is the suffering. So of course you cannot do that. So what should you do? You should do karma on the basis of dharma. You should always do dharmic karma. What does dharmic karma mean? Dharmic karma doesn't mean the Hinduist way of karma or the Islamist way of karma or the Christianist way of karma. No. Dharmic karma means the karma which is based on the humanity. Because there is only one dharma. It is called Manav Dharma. Just behave like human and nourish your life, your character with the human quality. Behave like human. Do all your karma with patience, with wherever possible forgiveness. You know the 10 righteous qualities. The dand is also a dharma, by the way. So forgiveness cannot be applied all the time. But even in practicing the dand, the punishment, you still maintain the calmness within you. You still maintain the akrodh within you. You're giving the dand, the punishment to somebody, but from inside you are not in anger. The anger is only outside. You are not in anger. So you still maintain the 10 righteous quality within you. So karma is what will build up the prarabdha, the good prarabdha for you. And it is the result of prarabdha. It is the result of your righteous karma that will, change your character and develop interest for vikarma. So karma only will lead you to vikarma. It's just that first you have to start changing your karma from ashubh karma to shubh karma. Just try to stick to only shubh karma, only auspicious karma, only righteousness. Stop doing, unrighteous, non-righteous thing. That is the first effort we have to make. It is the karma, the good karma, the prarabdha of good karma is what will lead you to vikarma. And one of the example is, our most honorable, Chaubeji, whose experience we heard, in one of the situation where he was sick and the present master gave him darshan, but how hard he asked for Sadguru Sudafal Devji to come, he did not come then. But then later, Sadguru Sudafal Devji Maharaj appeared in front of him. At that point of time, Chaubeji asked that why didn't you come then when I was calling you? And Sadguru Sudafal Devji Maharaj says, I was hearing all your pleads. I was hearing everything. But what can I do? Your prarabdha was such that I was bound not to come in front of you. That means it is the prarabdha that can stop you from vikarma. Imagine about it. You must build the right set of prarabdha so that you are not deprived of the darshan of Sadguru. You are not deprived of satsang. You are not deprived of seva. You must build up your prarabdha such that you indulge into vikarm in the future life. If let's say you're not into vikarm right now, at least our action should be such that in the future life also our desires, our characters are such that we like doing satsang. We should have interest in doing meditation. How will that happen? We must build the right set of prarabdha. And those prarabdha is built out of the righteous action. So karma is something that we must perform because that's our duty. जातीय देश समाज के विश्व उद्धारक कर्म, अभ्युदय के जो लिए यह सब ही है कर्म. जाति देश समाज विश्व के उत्थान एवं विकास के लिए जो कुछ व्यवहार किया जाता है वे सब कर्म है. कर्म से ही संसार का उत्थान होता है. इसलिए उचित कर्मों का संपादन कर विश्व का कल्याण करना चाहिए. So we must not shy away from the duties as a human being that we have been given. We must help others. We must take care of our family. We must nourish our body and take care of our health. These are the duties. But we must do all those duties with utmost righteousness. That's all we have to do. Then is Vikarm. What is Vikarm? Vikarm is a special Shubh karma. It's a special karma. V matlab Vishesh. V means Vishesh karma. It's a special karma. So what are those special karma? Where you're putting an effort for the detachment, where you're putting an effort for the spiritual upliftment. So all human efforts of spiritual purification of mind, efforts that separate the soul from trigunas of Prakriti, for example, meditation, satsang, seva, Sadguru Sharan, surrendering to Sadguru. So efforts that activate the inward flow of consciousness is all under Vikarm. Sadgurudev writes in Swarved, he says, कर्म छूटे जही कर्म से सो विकर्म शुभ कर्म जिज्ञासु आश्रय रहे सेवा करत विकर्म. What it means is, see, as long as your flow of consciousness is outward, that means you are strengthening the bondage of karma. But only when you do certain special karma by which your flow of consciousness reverses and starts going inward, that is how you are now preparing to break the bondage of karma. So Sadgurudev says, जिस कर्म से कर्म छूटने का प्रयास किया जाता है वह शुभ कर्म विकर्म है. So all those efforts in which the soul learns to detach from the mind, from the indriyas, from the subject, and progress towards the inner realization of the self, about the conscious self, about the supreme being. In this inward journey, whatever effort is made, that all comes under Vikram. He explains further, ब्रह्म विद्या के योग्य जो अधिकारी गुरु जान क्षेत्र सहायक कर्म जो सुविकर्म पर ज्ञान। सदगुरु की शरण में रह ब्रह्म विद्या के अधिकारी बन अध्यात्म क्षेत्र में आगे बढ़ने में सहायक जो कर्म है वे विकर्म है। So all those efforts which you make under the shelter of Sadguru to become eligible for the God realization is what is called विकर्म। इसी उत्कृष्ट ज्ञान को धारण कर जिज्ञासु ब्रह्म विद्या का अधिकारी होता है। विकर्मनिष्ठ जिज्ञासु ही ब्रह्म विद्या का अधिकारी होता है। So only when you have this wisdom very clear that only when you are spending your time, your life, majority of your life in vikarma, that's how you become eligible for God realization. उपकार कर्तव्य है परहित चाहत संत आरत दीन अधीनता तब पावे भगवंत। Sadgurudev clarifies here that who do we need to surrender? Under whose shelter vikarma happens? Under whose shelter our consciousness will reverse? Who do we need to connect to? The master, the real master who have come down to this mortal land only for the well-being of a human being, for the ultimate well-being of a human being. What is the ultimate well-being? जातीय राष्ट्र समाज की सब ही सेवा जान उत्तम सेवा जगत की ब्रह्म विद्या कर ज्ञान। The one who has come here for giving the Brahma knowledge is the ultimate seva of the humanity. And the master who has come down here to give that Brahma Vidya, that master is the one who we need to surrender. And under that master only, our consciousness will reverse. Otherwise, reversing consciousness is not going to happen in any other effort. So Vikarma always happens under the shelter of Sadguru. Without getting the shelter of Sadguru, whatever the selfless effort you will make, that will still come under the Shubh Karma, but not under Vikarma. Not under Vikarma. Because you're not connected to the energy which will pull your consciousness inside. So having shelter of Sadguru is the first need of Vikarma. And that is why we need to identify who is the master who I need to take the shelter of for beginning with the Vikarma. There are certain examples of Vikarma. सत संगति सदगुरु शरण सेवा भाव विचार उपकार गुरु पाठ है यह विकर्म जगसार। सत्संगति सदगुरु शरण सेवा भाव उपकार और गुरु की शिक्षा ये विकर्म है जो संसार की निवृत्ति के लिए महान साधन। So we must understand that it is not only about your own liberation. We must also contemplate about upakar. What is upakar? What is the greatest upakar that you can do to the other jiva, other human being, other fellow that is in your family, in your office, in your neighborhood? The biggest upakar that you can give is inspire them for Brahma Vidya, inspire them for liberation. Because that is what is going to end the suffering from the root. Otherwise, just plucking one leaf out of a rotten tree is not going to help. Maybe the leaf is getting rotten, so you pluck that leaf. Well, that will not end the suffering. The other leaf will start rotting. You'll pluck that. That's all will continue. You're not going to help that jiva by those superficial help. You have to help them from the root itself. The root is ajnanata. The root is the contrary knowledge. The root is that the jiva doesn't know who he is and what is his prime goal of a human life. So getting the jiva into the wisdom of Brahma Vidya is the biggest upakar, biggest help that you can give to the humanity. And when you do that under the order, under the shelter of Sadguru, that is how you also progress in the inward journey. You become more conducive for receiving Sadguru energy within you if you be part of spreading the knowledge of Brahma Vidya to others. So all these efforts are Vikarma. It is for the Vikarma I am sitting in front of you. It is for the Vikarma that you are sitting in front of me. You are also doing Vikarma right now. I am also doing Vikarma right now. You are attaining the knowledge of Sadguru. And I am doing the upkar of giving this knowledge to you. I am becoming the medium for Sadguru to give knowledge to you through me. It is not my knowledge, it is Sadguru's knowledge. All these are Vikarma. So you must, pat your shoulder that you are doing the best thing in life right now. You are sitting in satsang. You are accumulating Vikarma for you. You are accumulating Vikarma for you, which is what is going to make your future life fruitful for the upliftment of the soul. तो सत्संगति सदगुरु शरण सेवा भाव उपकार और गुरु की शिक्षा ये विकर्म है जो संसार की निवृत्ति के लिए महान साधन है. Through these efforts you detach from sansar. So what we understood by now is it is by the auspicious, the righteous karma that you become ready and eligible for vikarma. And then it is through the vikarma you become eligible for akarma. So they are all consequential. You cannot escape from karma. You have to choose the righteous karma. And through the righteous karma, you get the Sadguru. When you get the Sadguru, then the Vikarma, the journey of Vikarma begins. When the Vikarma continues throughout your life, then if God shows mercies and Sadguru gives his blessings, then within the same life itself, you will attain the state of Akarma. What is the Akarma? जीवन मुक्त के कर्म जग सो अकर्म कर जान कर्म करे फिर नहीं करे कर्म भोग नहीं मान. जीवन मुक्त द्वारा संसार में किए गए सभी कर्म अकर्म है. वह कर्म करते हुए भी नहीं करता और न उसमें कर्म भोग होता है. वह समस्त कर्मों से असंग हो संसार के कल्याण के लिए कर्म करता है. वह कीच में नहीं फंसता. यही जीवन मुक्त योगी का परिचय है. दिस इज व्हाट इज द रियल आर्ट ऑफ कर्मा. This is what the real art of karma. Attain this art of karma where the karma is not for you. It is no more for you. And how does that happen? It doesn't happen just by thinking in the mind. It doesn't happen just by being selfless in your mind. No, it is a state. Akarma is a state which is attained in the fire of Brahma Vidya. Only when you are in union with Almighty, only when you become Jivan Mukta. What is Jivan Mukt? Jite Ji Mukt. While living in the body, you are liberated. Meaning your door is open. You are free to connect to Almighty and enjoy the bliss of Almighty while living in the body. Our Guru says there is a Jivan Mukta Samadhi and there is a Videha Mukta Samadhi. You're already in samadhi while living in the body. That is what is Jivan Mukta Samadhi. So the karma of a Jivan Mukta Samadhi yogi is a karma, not you and me. Not you and me. You and me cannot attain the state of karma, akarma, just by thinking in mind that I am selfless. I am not doing anything for myself. I am doing only for world. No, everything is being recorded in your chitta because your chitta is still able to record your karma. When Sadguru sits for darshan, when people go and meet Sadguru, get the darshan of Sadguru, who gets the benefit of Sadguru's effort giving darshan? It is the disciple. Sadguru is sitting there and the benefit is coming only to the disciples. Sadguru is just becoming the medium for passing on the fruits, passing on the fruits to you for your vikarma. So Sadguru is detached from his effort. Sadguru is not there as a recipient of his effort, but Sadguru is the giver of the fruits. So only when you become the giver of the fruits, not the taker of the fruits, when you become the giver of the fruits, that's when you attain the state of akarma. And who attains the state of akarma? Only when you become united with Almighty. So what happens to the accumulated karma that you had within your chitta? Sadgudev writes in Swarved, Brahma Vidya Chingi Udi Lagi Karma Ghar Aag Karma Vasana Jar Gayi Chetana Chetana Jag. When through the vikarm, through the practice of vikarm, when your inward journey completes and unite with Almighty, it is in that state that the Brahma Vidya, the light of Brahma, the energy of Brahma will flow in your chitta and will burn away all your accumulated karma. You will be free from the bondage of all karma. Brahma Vidya chingi udi lagi karma ghar aag. Karma vasana jar gayi. Chetana chetana jag. All the accumulated karma, the sanchit karma burns into ashes. There is nothing left for your bondage. You become free from all the bondages of karma. But what still remains is the prarabdha. Because the prarabdha had already taken the shape of the life which you are yet to live. So whatever life is left, you will still receive the fruits of prarabdha. But will those fruits touch you? No, the fruits will just come in your life. You will remain detached from the fruits. That is where you attain the state of a witness, not a victim. So you lead your life as a witness of your fruits, not the victim of your fruits. That's how a Brahmagyani, a Jivan Mukh Samadhist yogi live the prarabdha. Sanchit beej vinash se ankur srishti na hoy. You know, the seed itself is gone. So all your efforts that you are making, there is no germination of karma within you because the seed of karma itself is gone. You have attained the state of akarma. You are not performing karma anymore. You are in a state of akarma. There is no karma for you anymore. You have become the giver of fruits, not the doer of karma anymore. This is what is the state of akarma. And yoga karmasu kaushalam. People have great misconception about this Bhagavad Gita shloka. Yoga karmasu kaushalam. What is yoga? We understand yoga means union with Almighty God, right? But how to understand that in the dimension of karma? What is yoga? So yoga is a state in which You attain the perfection of performing karma such that you are not tied up to the fruits of karma. The real perfection of karma is this, that you are not bound to the fruits of karma. That is what is the real perfection. The real perfection is not to become great typist, great journalist. That's not the karmasu kausalam. The real kausalam, the real skill of karma is by attaining the state of akarma. Perform actions such that you're not bound to the fruits of those actions. That is what is the real kausalam in karma. And once you attain that kausalam, that means you have attained union with Almighty. And so it is said, yoga karmasu kausalam. So that is just a dimension of looking at the same state of yoga in terms of karma. It doesn't mean that by performing karma you attain the state of yoga. No, it doesn't happen that way. It is by performing yoga, the union with Almighty, you attain the kausalam of karma. It is the otherwise. People think that, my duty, if I just become good at my duty, that's all. I will attain Almighty, because Bhagavad Gita says, Yoga Karmasu Kausalam. If you just do your duty perfectly, you will attain union with Almighty. What a misconception. What a great ignorance. Karma only leads to bondage. If karma will lead to liberation, then what leads to bondage? Karma leads to bondage. Karma never leads to liberation. It is the state of akarma that leads to liberation. It is a state of akarma in which one is liberated, not the karma. And state of akarma, from karma to state of akarma, the bridge is Sadguru and the surrender to Sadguru. Because only when we surrender to Sadguru, the vikarma begins. The vikarma begins from then. So vikarma is the bridge between karma and akarma. Our goal is to attain the state of akarma. And the only way to attain the state of akarma is through vikarma. And the only way to begin our journey in vikarma is by surrendering to Sadguru. When we start leading our life in the shelter of Sadguru, that's how the vikarma begins. So with this, I open this up for the question and answer. We have 12 minutes left.
Vijay, I have a question for you. In the light of the karmas, the forms of karma, and that upkar that you talked about, where the selfless service or the upkar jo kehte hain. The question is something like the practical thing that I had come across, and I'm just thinking about that incident. It was an accident that had happened, and this family loses one family member in that car accident. The other car driver, it was his fault. But when the thing went into the court and everything, this family decided to forgive him, the other driver, and told him that we forgive you. We don't really want to do anything, no punishment, nothing like that. So they did that particular. What does that forgiveness that that person has done to the family, he hurted them or very bad way or whatever, what up to what degree does it, because if that person is forgiven, does that reduce or increase the degree of his punishment or whatever he will need to face in the other birth or other lifetimes? Or how does that particular, and this was just an incident which is like a really an extreme example, but that happens in the daily life too, that at night we chant that sloka and say that Karan Charan Krutam, like you forgive all the bad sins I have done or whatever. So does that help? That is the question.
Yeah, so let
If
me,
somebody forgive.
yeah, I understood that. So let me take it up. So as we understood in the beginning, that the karma is never between two human beings. If we take that the frame of reference, we'll understand it easily. The karma is always between you and Almighty. It is never between two human beings.
Mm.
So both the character in this incidents are playing the role, their own roles. Both are performing karma. One has done certain things which caused the suffering to the other people's life, and whatever he has done, that has been recorded in the register of Almighty, because it is always between Almighty and the human being. It is never between human being and human being. Now how the other person react to it is the karma of the other person. The first person's karma is done, it is recorded. It doesn't matter whether the second person has forgiven or not forgiven, it doesn't matter. But how the second person react to it will decide the fate of the second person, because the karma is always between you and the Almighty. It is never between the human being. It is just that by your nature, if your current nature is such that you invite forgiveness from the people in front of you, that is the instant result of your kriyaman karma. You were, in such a, innocent state that you certainly, appear to others that you did not commit this intentionally, but it was just an accident, and the other people noticed it. Why did other people fail for forgiveness? Because they noticed that you are a good human being. So they forgave you. He forgave you only because your karma in the current life was such, the result of which was the forgiveness you received from the other fellow. But the forgiveness is just one part of the karma. But the accident that happened, the outcome of that accident is not decided by the other fellow, but it will be decided by the Almighty only. Even by accident, if we do karma, that is a karma. That is what is the granularity of karma. That knowingly or unknowingly, whether knowingly or unknowingly, we commit a mistake, it is recorded as a mistake only. For example, just understand like this. It will make it very clear. For example, you are walking on a road and there are big pegs, the nails on the road. You're not aware of it and you step onto it unknowingly. Will the Almighty forgive you from the pain of the nail, or you will still get the pain of the nail? You have stepped onto it unknowingly. You were innocent. Still you suffered with the pinch of the nail. Why? Because not having the knowledge itself is the cause of the suffering. So being innocent is not the excuse. Being innocent is not the excuse. You will not be excused because you did not know. Whether knowingly or unknowingly, if you commit a mistake, it is a mistake. So we must have the knowledge of dharma. We must know how we should behave in the life. If we say that, well, I didn't know that I should have behaved this way. Had I known, I would have treated it differently. Why didn't you know? Why did your karma was such that you were deprived of this wisdom? That today, when it needed for you to behave certain way, you just did not know how to behave, and unknowingly you hurted the sentiment of other people. So whether knowingly or unknowingly, if your karma causes suffering to others, it is the ashubh karma for you. It is the ashubh karma for you. That is why it is said it is impossible for a human being to break out of the bondage of karma, because you're so strongly, fallen into the mud of karma. There is no way you can escape from it.
Okay. Thank you, Vijayji.
Vijay, I have a question, Srirang here. So you said knowingly or unknowingly, whether we do anything and if it causes suffering, that is still a karma. And that makes perfect sense. But when we get the fruits of that karma, does it matter whether it was done knowingly or unknowingly?
See, God is Nyay Karta. I said the God does justice. So of course, the fruits of karma done intentionally and the fruits of karma done unintentionally are two different fruits. It's not the same karma, right? The karma done with intention is recorded as different karma, and the karma done with no not having intention for that is recorded as different karma. So the fruits are different.
Okay, thank you.
Vijay, the question here, basically, like some people like do because like if you look, I'll just take an example. Like if a poor person, right? He is in need of food and he is not getting the food and he is grabbing the food from somebody, right? Just uh, uh, for his hunger, right? So,
Hmm.
so he is doing something wrong, right? Bad karma, but
Right.
it's a good karma for him. Okay. So will he get the punishment for that?
See, Asteyam, that's why is one of the dharma of a human being. Asteyam means not stealing the fruits that you are not entitled to. That is what Asteyam is. It is better to stick to your dharma than falling into non-righteous karma. Even though even though you have to leave your last breath, but we must stick to dharma. Whatever is the righteous, we must continue to stick to the righteousness because this is not the only life that you have lived in this on this earth. You have to still live on this earth in future as well. So just for one thing, if you take the resort of a non-righteous actions, you do not know because of just one karma, God knows how many births you'll have to wait for you to come back to the human birth again. Just because of one action. You never know. Maybe your one action is so fallen that you may have to take births and births and births into several other non-human species. So we must be very careful of our actions. We must never leave the dharma at any cost. That should be our duty.
So, an example of Valmiki or there's other sant, right? They were doing all the bad karmas, right?
Mhm.
And suddenly they found uh, they knew okay they were doing the bad karma and they started doing the good karma, right?
Correct.
So,
Yeah.
right. So they why they didn't suffer because of their bad karmas that they have done earlier.
Okay. So we just understood that it is the prarabdha which you are tied up to, right? Prarabdha is something which is destined to happen and nobody can escape from it. And whatever you're doing in current life is not your prarabdha. Prarabdha is always from the previous lives. So whatever currently you're doing actions, either you get the result of it in current life. If you don't get the result of it, then it is accumulated and the fruits are due. Fruits are still due. Now, suddenly, because of some good prarabdha that you carried forward from previous life, you came in the shelter of Sadguru.
Right.
That when do you come to the shelter of Sadguru? It is by all the good punyas, all the shubh karmas that you do from previous lives. That in this current life you will recognize the true identity of Sadguru and you'll come to shelter of it. It's not a simple event to recognize that this is the Sadguru. So, in the current life, Maybe you were misdriven by several other ill factors and you became a non-human being and your actions are very unpious. But because of the prarabdha of the previous lives, you were still entitled to get Sadguru. And you get the shelter of Sadguru, you started doing all good actions, all vikarma, and your vikarma was so much sincere that you completed your entire journey of yoga in the current life itself. Like Balmiki, he completed his entire journey in the current life. So what happened? He got the Brahma Vidya. When he got the Brahma Vidya, what happened? Brahma Vidya chingi udi lagi karma ghar aag. Karma vasana jar gayi chetana chetana jag. So through the Brahma Vidya, all the accumulated karma, the fruits of which were due, they just vanished without giving the fruits itself because of the Brahma Vidya.
Yes. So,
But if you allow,
uh,
Mhm.
Ji, like so whatever karma you are accumulating, right? If
Yeah.
you are attaining the Brahm Vidya here in this life, you should be
Mhm.
able to burn those accumulated karmas, right?
If you get the Brahma Vidya in the current life, it will burn away all accumulated karma. Yes.
Okay. That's why I took that example and I tried to understand. Like,
Right.
okay,
Right.
thanks, Vijay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think Riturajji had certain thing to say. Yes.
Hello, Vijayji, I have a question regarding that raga, dvesha, vinivesha, which you are talking about, right? So like need to have those like qualities with us, or like if we are having that, then definitely we won't become a yogi. So is that thing uh, like if we want to lead the life, we definitely should have those with us qualities. So if we have that qualities, then we are going to make mistakes, or like not even mistakes. So to survive, we need to have it. So how you will tell that that like is it like good to have,
Okay,
or
so so
not
so
good
okay,
to have?
so you're saying you are making a point here that for leading a worldly life, we must have raga and dvesha. Is that the point you're saying?
Correct, correct. So
Okay,
all such
sure.
qualities like
So
Dvesha,
so tell
Vinivesha, all.
right, right. So tell me one thing. Tell me one thing. You know what does raga do? What is the raga? Sukhanushair, when you follow, when you chase the happiness that you have had before, what kind of happiness? The worldly, the sensory gratification. When you chase, when you crave for the repeat of the same sensory happiness, that is what is called raga. When you have the craving for it. So, do you think that for succeeding in your professional life, it is the craving that is needed, or it is the perfection of your faculties which is needed? The perfect control of your mind, the perfect nourishment of your body, the perfect use of your intellect. It is the perfection in the execution, in the use of the faculties of your body which is needed for success in the human life. And that's what exactly is achieved by sticking to righteousness, not by sticking to raga and dvesha. If you stick to raga and dvesha, it simply means that you want to focus on a job A, but it is the subject B will drive your attention away from the job A. You will be always disturbed because of the raga and dvesha. So raga and dvesha by no means is progressive in nature. It is the righteousness, it is the detachment which is more progressive, more prosperous for anybody in this human life. So for a worldly life, for example, all Vihangam yogis are leading a worldly life also. They have job to do. You know, there are people who come to Swamiji says, Swamiji, I just don't even feel like getting married. I just want to come to your feet. The very next statement Sadhgurudev says that first go and complete your education, get a job, get married, and then come to me. Because Sadhgurudev is not here for the mental vairagya, that for one instance you feel like I just don't want this and that, I just want to come to your feet. No, he wants you to have a natural vairagya, a natural state of vairagya, which will come automatically when your mind will come to rest by the practice of vikarma. That is why vikarma. That is why, under the shelter of Sadguru, we have to lead the life following the disciplines and the principles of Sadguru. Sadguru नियम विवेक में चलना सो सुख जान, आरत दीन अधीन हो महासुखी जगमान. You know, the greatest formula of living this worldly life with bliss is leading the life in the principle of Sadgurudev, leading the life in the wisdom of Sadgurudev, where the raga and dvesha and kama and krodha has no place. They have no place. It is all the dharma and the vikarma, the guru seva, satsang, sadhana, paropkar. These are the foundation of our life. The righteousness, the righteous duty. There is no place of raga and dvesha. Your life rather become more prosperous by this. That is the beauty. It becomes more prosperous. Yeah, so with this, we conclude. It's already 7 minutes past our time. Thank you all. We'll take up the future question in the next week session, where we'll talk about Sadguru. We'll talk about Sadguru in the next session, which is very important. Now we have come to a point where we'll also understand how these three bondages, these tri-bondages are broken. What is the formula of breaking out of these three bondages? That is where the subject of Sadguru will come into picture. So I request Ishaji to conclude with Shanti part. Ishaji.
शांति पाठ हे प्रभु शांति स्वरूप हो, शांति शांति में शांति, शांति शांति जन शांति हो, पूर्ण शांति में शांति। हे प्रभु शांति प्रदान कर, दूर हो सर्व शांति। देव सदा फल शांति में, शांति शांति सुख शांति। बोलिए सद्गुरुदेव भगवान की जय।
Jai
Thank you.
Sadguru. Yeah, see you all next week, 3 o'clock.
Thank
Saturday.
Thank you, Vijayji. Thank you so much.